Hi, this is Edie Dalkey with Waterfront Life, and today I have somebody with me who builds race cars. And you can be assured that if this company can build a race car, they know cars. So go ahead and say hello and tell us who you are.
Thanks, Edie. I'm Jennifer Morris, and my husband Kerry and I own Precision Transmission Center in Ormond. So yes, we do build race cars. We have an '89 Chevy Camaro that we've built that we race at the Speedway. I'm one of the drivers. There's a team of 5 of us plus all the support crew, but our real business is transmission repair. So high-end auto repair, transmissions specifically.
Okay, excellent. So Jennifer, tell us how you, what's the story? How did you get into this?
Well, my husband, Kerry, has been building transmissions for almost 40 years. He started very young, got into the industry, and he's always been a rebuilder. And he started the racing just as a passion, and he loves it. And he started without much money, so he had to do most of the work himself. So that's how he got into it, and the racing and the transmission rebuilding. My background was very different. I was in the Air Force in medical supply, and after that, I went into Pfizer, and I was in pharmaceutical sales for 10 years. So I had a very different background, but I just was tired of the large corporate environment, wanted to do something different. I joke with Kerry, I wanted to be a free agent. So we started a shop together and decided that it was time that we team up and get him out of working for someone else and make me a free agent.
So I joke with you because I've heard you on the phone before, talking about parts and talking about cars, and we've had discussions before about cars, and I always say, I wish I had you with me when I was buying a car, because you're just this little bitty thing, and you wouldn't think that this woman knows so much about a car, but you do. Anyway, just because that's what's going on in our world, let me ask you how the shop and how you all have been doing with COVID-19.
It's just been so strange. We have stayed open. Of course, being auto repair, we're an essential business. So we did stay open and work through the quarantine time and everything. The business has changed a lot, obviously, with people quarantined, but we had a lot of projects that we were working on, aside from urgent repairs, things that came up. We also do fleet work for the city, things like that. So we always seem to have work. We have a certain group of customers that are basically street rod, classic car people. So I keep a waiting list. They were happy to be able to get their cars in because we could spend more time on them. One of the frustrations we've really had, though, is with our supply chain, because there have been so many interruptions, even with common parts. So we've really had to juggle things and try to manage expectations better. Not to mention the health concerns as well. So we've changed some things in the shop as far as going to appointment only, using our night drop for keys even during normal business hours, so people can drop their car off without coming in, and then doing creative ways to deliver cars without customers coming into the shop. So I think we've come through the worst of it, and we've been fortunate because all of our staff has stayed healthy. I don't have any customers that I'm aware of that have been impacted. So I'm feeling very fortunate, but it definitely has made changes.
Yeah. And we all are in it together. So kind of tell us about the backbone of your business. You mentioned some really faithful customers, the ability to work on high-end cars, but what would you say separates you from other shops that might be doing the same thing?
Hmm. I would say the biggest difference is education and training. So, for example, when Carrie started in this industry in the early 80s, there were 9 basic transmissions that a rebuilder had to be familiar with. And, you know, they were busy with those 9. As things have changed, it's evolved very quickly. And for the most point, I think customers, car drivers will see the technology as far as Bluetooth, comfort, safety, things like that. But you have to realize the technology on the operating systems and the components has changed drastically. When Carrie started with those 9 basic units, they were hydraulic and vacuum controlled. Now everything's computer controlled. You can literally have an ABS sensor that will cause the transmission to malfunction. So the learning curve has been very steep, and we've really tried to stay at least equal to the curve. It was just a few years ago, transmissions most commonly had 4 speeds. Now the new ones coming out, just mid-range cars, have 10-speed automatics. So we're constantly, our whole staff is constantly training and educating, getting information from everywhere to learn not only the new technology, but updates and improvements on the older technology. So I think that's really what separates us. I know when we came to this area 10 years ago and opened this shop, we specifically chose this area because there was a real need. We didn't see any transmission shops that had kept up with the newer technology to the same level. In fact, the other shops in the area didn't even have website before we moved here. So we were the first one to come to town in 2010, start a website, and start doing European cars.
Excellent. So we've already given it away that you are a race car driver. So I featured, we had a 2-page spread on you in Waterfront Life a while back that you rode, and I just remember calling you going, I'm getting chills from reading the feature. But tell us a little bit about, as a female, the learning process and what it's like to see Daytona International Speedway from behind the wheel in a race. I mean, anyone can pay to do the roundabout, but not a lot of people can say they've been in a race at Daytona. So tell us about that a little bit. And then I know that COVID also affected you in some very big plans. So tell us a little bit about all of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just sort of sneaked into racing. It wasn't, you know, this big plan that I had set up. I just kind of fell into it because Carrie, as I said, it's been his passion for years. And so he really wanted to run that track. His background was dirt track. He also did pavement, but it was with sprint cars. So taking on a road race car was going to be a new endeavor for us. And he actually, the first year that we raced, he brought out a couple of his friends that he had raced with in the Northwest in Washington State. And so it was our first year, and it did not go well. I think we lasted 4 hours out of a 14-hour race, and it was pretty brutal. So I had made the comment, well, I could have done better than that. So Carrie thought about it, and he said, you know, that's a good point. Why don't we make you one of the drivers instead of just basic support staff? So I said, okay. So I went to Henry Gilbert's racing school out at the track, and we trained on the new Corvettes. So it was 2-day training. And it was really surprising just to think about going around this track and feeling the G-force and think about what I'm doing, and it just seemed surreal. So I guess for me, the way I've been able to do it is not really think about what a big deal it is, just kind of focus on what am I doing in this car at this moment. And I know every time I go out there in a race, it's nerve-wracking. It's not a comfortable car with the computer doing everything for you. It's all manual and loud, and just the adrenaline rush, I think, is what keeps me going. And then afterward, I realize, oh, that was a really big deal. And so that's why I say I kind of sneaked into it a little bit at a time. And it's really a lot of fun. The thing I love most about it is that we all go out there as a team, and you're just excited, and it's fun to be out there together. And it has stress, of course, but not work stress. And you know that if you do well, just the glory feels
Yes.
like nothing else that you can experience. So I can only imagine what NASCAR drivers go through.
Well, I mean, speaking of, you guys had a team built that included Mike Skinner.
Yes. Yep. He is
So,
part of the team this year. And you had asked also about how COVID has affected the racing. We do one Champ Car race per year at the Daytona Speedway. We don't travel around to the other tracks for the whole season. Our Daytona race was scheduled in April, and obviously that couldn't happen. The track has been closed, so they had rescheduled it. So we're now going to be running the 14-hour race July 5th. We originally had July 4th, but IMSA ended up getting that date. So we were bumped for IMSA to the next day. But I'm actually really excited because we're going to be out there doing our tech and all of our setup while IMSA is there. So it's really so much bigger than when we first started.
oh, I hadn't even heard that yet. So that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So Carrie's been spending every weekend getting the car ready, making sure. We did do a test day last month at Sebring, and there are definitely procedures in place because of COVID as far as wearing masks and social distancing. But I think as a community, we're getting used to that and starting to flow a little better. So I'm anticipating that the race day will go smoothly. And I think this year the car is better than it's ever been. Carrie's done amazing changes.
Yeah.
We even rewrapped it. So, I mean, it's a different car. And then we've got the new team with Mike, and then 2 other very good high-profile drivers as well.
So, it's the office dog. You know, kind of explain a little bit more about, like, you focus on transmissions, but if I'm driving a BMW and would rather have you do an oil change, is that something you do?
We do. I try to do things like that for customers that we already work with.
Established, okay.
Yeah. The biggest reason why I do that is we're not a high volume shop where, you know, every 20 minutes I have a car.
No.
A lot of what we do is major repairs. Now, the guys are all ASE Master Techs, so they can certainly handle anything, but I have to think about the scheduling. And let's say I have a car that is getting a transmission rebuilt. It's going to be on the lift for 3 to 4 days. I can't push it off to do an oil change, but I generally try to fit things in. I try to keep a lift open, and we certainly will try to fit things in like that because we always welcome new customers, especially when they're European or something that's not real common.
I would imagine you can really shine between having a vehicle taken to you versus a dealership.
Yes. And you know, it's funny because I've had people ask me, sometimes they'll call for pricing on things, and I've had people comment, well, in this particular case, you're as much as the dealer. Sometimes we are. Most of the time will be less expensive because our labor rate is less, and I don't have as many miscellaneous fees, things like that always seem to come in. So definitely, as a whole, we tend to be less expensive, but we also have a much higher level of technical knowledge. So the dealerships, a lot of times they'll have newer technicians.
Bingo. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to the residents and anybody else as far as if they're feeling and hearing different things coming out of their Mercedes or very British high-end European vehicle.
Mhm. They need to give me a call and set up a time for us to get it in and get it checked. Because sometimes it can be something major, but a lot of times it isn't. And we always want to start with a thorough diagnostic because we want to know we do not get into any repairs until we know what the problem is, what the appropriate repair, and what the cost is going to be. So we're very transparent in that way. I do charge a diagnostic fee because my techs are paid based on the work they do, but we credit the diagnostic fee to the repairs. So that way they're not rushed to hurry up and just get something down on paper. But we know what we're doing and we're able to share that with the customer prior to doing anything so that we can win and they'll be happy, and then we can move on to the next customer. A lot of what we do, I feel, is important because we provide a service to the community. Like I said earlier, we originally moved here because we saw a need, and I feel really proud of what we bring to the community as far as the level of professionalism and cleanliness of our facility compared to what a lot of people think.
Oh, yes.
Auto shops.
I love walking into your shop. So tell us how to find you.
Well, we do a lot of local advertising. The TVs that are around town and all the restaurants, things like that, we're featured on there. We have started this year to really get more active with social media. So we are showing up on a lot more social media. We have an amazing website that a company has, we've stayed with the same company since we opened in 2010, and they do an amazing job. So we have our website. We also come up on Google search a lot.
And what is the website?
It's precisiontransmissioncenter.com.
Okay.
So it's just our name.
Right.
If you just look up Transmissions Ormond Beach, we're always #1.
Yep.
We do, plus the biggest thing is word of mouth. So
Yep.
you can ask pretty much anybody in town, they will know us.
And what's your phone number? What's your phone number?
310-7955. So 310-7955.
And that's a 386 area code.
Yep, 386.
And then where's your location?
We're on US 1. Our street address is 75 North Young Street. So we're on US 1, block north of Granada.
Yeah.
We do a lot of business actually having a street frontage, and
Yes.
we're an orange and black building, so it's not like we blend in with
Yes.
all the rest.
When I tell people, I'm like, think of the corner of Granada and US 1, and just go down US 1 just a little farther towards the north, and you will not miss it because the colors are very, very vivid. But those are your company.
Also, because we usually have a full parking lot,
Yes.
so you'll see a lot of cars there. But
Yes.
it's actually it's 1 block north of Granada at the corner of Lincoln.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer and Carrie, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your long partnership with N2 Publishing and Waterfront Life. I really appreciate you and feel very strongly that you're such a good fit for the type of readers that we have. So I just want to say thank you again. Appreciate you.
It's been just so nice. A lot of times I've been reluctant to advertise and partner with certain venues because a lot of times I feel that it doesn't bring value for me or the target audience that they're going after because they're just not very good at what they do. But I have to say all the years that we have partnered with you have been so fulfilling for us because all the special events that you do that we've been able to participate in, the car shows and the holiday luncheons, so many things I feel like really bring value. And it was so fun when we had a party last year and we invited you and I was able to introduce you to residents that get your publication, and it was like a celebrity to them because, you know, oh, here's Edie and she publishes this for you guys, and it was
Yeah.
really neat. So I've
Yeah.
been very happy with it, and I do actually have a lot of customers that come to us, and it's neat to know that we're in this community together and
Yes.
supporting each other.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.